Hi folks, I'm Sean McCormick. Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to take a look at a light. We're going to take a look at the Weeylite Ninja 300. Hey folks, it's been a while, I know, but lots of plans, new content plans coming up and stuff like that. So there's going to be a bunch of stuff coming. This video has been actually coming since before Christmas, but I had an issue with my lapel mic. I have a Sennheiser ENG setup, and my rechargeable batteries, I couldn't get them to charge, and I just didn't buy it. Now I did go and buy, I should show you this now. I just got one of these kind of basic sets, €35, which I'll talk about again. But so what we're talking about a Weeylite Ninja 300, and it is tiny. I'm just knocking it off my microphone. Sorry for that. This is it here. Make sure that's going to be the right way around now. Okay, and as you can see, it is tiny, and you have no idea how light this is. There is literally no weight in it whatsoever. So I got it before Christmas, and so this is kind of a little bit of a long-term use thing because I've been using it for a lot of stuff since then. It is an 80 watt light. So if you compare it to some of the other lights you might have seen me use in the past, like the Godox SL60, it is noticeably brighter. Okay, as in if you like pointed to them at the ceiling with the light, which I'm not going to do in this because, you know, it's only 20 watts. It's anecdotally better, but it is noticeably better. I much prefer the fact that it's got a digital display, like with more information on it. The remote is a little bit better. Now, this comes in many, many kit forms. All right, so this is just a basic light, and it comes with just a reflector, which is just easier to have on the floor there, basically. And so that fits in. So it's got a kind of a small little 3-pin little clip system. So you push it in, it clicks in place, and then you got like a standard reflector, which focuses the beam. There's a little button that you push, and that releases it and lets you take it off. All right. But what it also comes with is this, which is a Bowens mount adapter. Now this is plastic, but it does have the umbrella mount on it. So you kind of need to use this if you want to just use umbrellas with it. Okay. So basically what happens is this clips in. I keep knocking off the mic. This is why I wanted to use an external mic and kind of do more location. So obviously I'm showing you this light, so I'm not using it, but the light from it is actually beautiful. We're going to see some of that stuff in a little bit though. Stuff I shot in studio with it. So as you can see, and this allows us to fit Bowen stuff. I'm going to run and grab a Bowen stuff, make an edit, and we'll see it. All right, so here I have a Neewer branded, well, I mean the box, the actual bag comes in as Neewer, N-E-E-W-R, however you pronounce that. And so as we can see here, that this has the standard S mount, which is the old Bowens fit. Bowens were an English band, if you aren't familiar with them, but their particular mount was ubiquitous because they were such a big name in the lower end of the lighting world. I mean, they're still a very, very good brand, but I mean, if you look at any of the Godox stuff, or Godox, however you pronounce it, they use this fitting. All right. So now with this adapter, if we can get this up and see it on camera. All right. So that just fits into the hole, little twist and click. All right. And then the weight of that sits there. Right. So you're able to get much softer. Right. This is a double diffuse box. And so this would actually be a perfect solution for me personally, to have over the computer aimed down at me for a better light. What I'm using currently is the Viltrox L116Ts. Weeylite are shipped by Viltrox. Right, so they are connected to Viltrox. And I already have a couple of Viltrox products that I really like. This setup that I'm using here, I've used for a long time. It's just very convenient for me because I literally hit a switch on that and hit a switch on the one behind me with the gel, giving me a shiny head. And they're very convenient. That's why I agreed to take a look at these, because I was interested in the product, because they're from the same family. So that is really, really cool. And so I've done a studio shoot with it, just showing the stuff being used in a studio situation. Because the thing about continuous light is that continuous light is really beneficial, because literally what you see is what you get. So what's the issue? Well, slower shutter speeds are the issue. So if you have an issue with slower shutter speeds, you may find that you get motion blur and stuff like that. But if you're doing a combination of stuff where you're doing video and you're doing stills, something like the Weeylite Ninja 300 is perfect. I mean, it's really, really good. Oh, one thing I will mention very, very quickly, just have a look at the back. All right, so it does come with, so it's got a display here. All right, turn it on and off. It's got a switch. But something that's really, really important to note about it is that the fan is built in here, and the fan is not strictly quiet. But there is an option on the remote to actually turn the fan off briefly should you need. You can't leave it off for a great length of time, or you will actually literally burn out the light. So just a heads up that that will happen. Oh, did I say? Oh yeah, if I haven't said it already, there is a version of the kit that lets you use 2 of these Sony batteries with it, so that you can use it on location at roughly 40% power. I was not sent this. If I was sent this, I probably would have done way more with this light for location stuff, but I wasn't sent it, so there's no way for me to test it or try it, I'm afraid. All right, but it does. So like I use sets of these Sony batteries, a double set of them, so that it'll power them. Right, so enough jibber jabber. Let's look at something a bit more practical. So here is a look at the unboxing. So as you can see, one of the key things to mention is that it comes with this absolutely beautiful padded case, which is great for storing everything, including the power supply. Now, the way this is powered is that it comes with a long figure 8 lead and then a power supply. This can be a bit of a pain because, like, when it's on a stand, it kind of dangles a bit. But I think it's great generally. It just allows for lighter weight. Now, I do have to use this with an adapter. Currently, I may snip it and just put an ordinary, well, it's a British plug, even though we're in Ireland, on, just to have that easier to use in the long run. Now we're looking at a studio setup, and in this case here, we're starting off with just a bare reflector, and it's quite a hard light, and we'll see that now here. And we can see here that the shadows are very, very defined. Now there's a little bit of an edge on that from the way the bounces internally, but we can see that there's still quite deep shadows. Next we move on to the Octabox that we saw a minute ago. Very soft light, double diffused. So that is very, very soft, and the shadows are very, very flattering light. See here how soft they are? Absolutely gorgeous light. Like for a lot of, if you're doing portraits and stuff, you generally use stuff like this because it's so flattering. It's quite a difference from the hard light. The next light we have now is the Beauty Dish. The Beauty Dish now is a little bit different because it's kind of between the two. There's elements of softness to it and there's elements of hardness to it, as we're going to see in a second. This one has the grid on it, so it's restricting the light a lot more, which you'll see kind of around the edges. And where the fire is kind of is basically where the shadows and where the light isn't filling in, so it's allowing that. You'll see it more from the front here. So we can see that kind of, the way it kind of tapers off the edges, that's from the grid. Because here it's still quite a flattering light, and I love Beauty Dishes for specifically beauty work. Again, done with video here. All right, folks, what we're going to do here now is we're actually going to look at the photographs and just talk a little bit briefly about what's going on and the settings and things like that, so we can see how continuous light is working in a portrait situation. So this is the first image, and if we just quickly bounce over here, we can see that this is ISO 200, 56mm, f4, 1/200 of a second. So reasonable depth of field, reasonable exposure, and it's a crop body, so it's 85mm equivalent. So you want it to be at 100 to satisfy that minimum shake requirement. But I mean, I'm shooting with a camera that has got image stabilization built in. So here we have, we just zoom in here a little bit, and we can see here we got this very, very small light source in the eyes. That's how you reverse engineer is by looking at reflections in the eyes. So we can see we got this very, very hard line, a slight penumbra just from the way it's got a multifaceted set instead of like a flat curve, as it were. You can see the shadows are quite defined as well. So this is quite a hard light, crisp, very good for when you want that super bright, specular, contrasty, crisp look. Does a great job here for it as well. Next image is, of course, our softer light, which is absolutely beautiful and so flattering. This is shot with the small Octabox. Now, it's quite close, so it's more flattering because it's close as well, because it's about relative size of light. And so we can see here we got a much bigger source in the eyes. Okay, so like you can barely see the difference in the shadows here. Absolutely gorgeous. Very, very flattering. And for portraits, this is perfect. And again, because it's a video light, you could do video and portraits with the same light if you wanted. And a quick look at the settings here. We can see that it is 320, so bumped up the ISO. F2.0 brought down the aperture and then brought up the shutter speed slightly. So the shutter speed and ISO probably cancel out a little bit, and then it's roughly 2 stops of difference between a soft light and a hard light normally in terms of the output. So that's to be expected. Now I did brighten this slightly in post, just so you know. I should also mention that all of these have been retouched with the Retouch for Me plugins, which I find amazing. Slow, but amazing. But then again, I'm doing less work. So this is now the beauty dish. All right, and again, I can see that we've got a shallower depth of field even on the hair. So quick look, again, says my shutter speed has gone up basically. So you will get a little bit more output because it's a silver beauty dish. And so there's more light and more contrast from it. You can see that it's a smaller source than the Octa, but a bigger source than the Reflector. But again, we can see that while we do have a hard enough shadow line, there's quite a difference between here and here. We can see that it's still not like a defined line that you would have. So that's why I'd say beauty dishes are kind of between a hard light and soft light. But again, with these, there's nothing wrong with either or any of these, right? These all serve a function and all look really, really good. So there's no wrong or right in this case. It depends what you're trying to achieve in the image. So for this, it has to be said that the light performed really, really well. I was actually very impressed with it. I'm genuinely very, very impressed with this light. The other thing that I would use this for normally myself would be, as well as obviously the obvious video application of doing stuff like this where you're just looking at my face, is that I do product photography. And when I am doing really quick product photography, I will regularly just pull out a continuous light, throw down one of my vinyl backgrounds and put it on it and just shoot. Or build a little set and do that. So that's what I've done. So let's have a look at that. Here we have the actual Weeylite just in the room, pardon the mess, and here's the kind of little setup just I've thrown on my desk here. Just a very quick set that's built up for this. So here's what the actual set is. I'm just zooming in here to try and get some kind of an angle. I set it up. I'm going to need to move something because basically it's reflecting everything so we can see the shape of the Octa in it and all that. So, but this is just a quick example to show what can happen with a set. I'm not trying to get the most accurate thing here. It's literally just showing you a setup that you can use this for product photography basically is all this is. And so let us now actually take a look at the photograph itself. So here is a quick version of the photograph itself. As we see, it's just taken very quickly. This is not edited or anything like that. It's literally just a pair of no-name sunglasses that I had. I haven't even wiped them down properly. Because the idea is just to show you really quickly how quick it is for product photography to get what you want. It focuses in the middle. Now I've actually set this to F9 to try and get more focus, but it's, let me just bring up I for information. And we can see here that it's F9 at 1/15 of a second. It's locked off on a tripod. So you can go and have it, like if I needed to have even more depth of field, I could go even further. So I go up to F16 and drop it, or even start using stacked focus to try and get stuff stacked focus as well. So that's just kind of a very quick look at product photography with this light. So I still have the product set up there in the background, but I've moved the light. The reason for that is I want to show you something as I smack my mic again. So again, we talked about the size of the Weeylite. There we go. So what I want to do is I also want to do a comparison because I just pulled it out there with the SL60W. I mean, you can probably see the difference there, like, you know, like it's tiny in comparison. And I'm not joking, but if you feel the weight, this feels so much heavier than this. Yeah, and this is my right hand, this is my left hand, and this one still feels way heavier. So yeah, I have the two in there anyway, but this one is just far more compact and far more handy. Okay, so let's talk about what I like about it. I like it how compact it is. I like how bright it is. I like the fact that I can use it on location if I get the battery pack. I like the digital display on it. I prefer it to what's going on with the very basic thing on the SL60W. It is upgradable. There is a USB Type-C input for upgrading it, if it needs a firmware update. I like the fact that you can turn the fan off for completely no noise, but the fan itself as a minus is quite loud. It's louder than the SL60W, which is loud enough to disrupt video. What else do I not like about Octabox lights? I don't like the fact that you have to use the adapter for the bow and stuff. Well, it's not that I don't like it. I don't like the fact that it's really plastic and I feel that it could break with a heavier modifier. Yeah, that's pretty much kind of it. Like, but do I love the light? Absolutely. Do I think it's a great light for the size and the weight and the money? Yeah, it is. It's really, really good. Viltrox are like a great brand to me. I know they're kind of like a cheaper brand, but their stuff is really, really good. Like these lights here that I'm using from my main YouTube setup and my main video setup for magazine video. It's fantastic. I mean, just good quality. I just prefer to have it a little bit softer because like it's kind of a little bit hard. I've moving to more direct light than than side light, just for more shape and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I find them great. But I would love to actually swap to be using that softbox with the Weeylite up overhead. And when I do move the setup, I'm going to change how this setup works in a while to build a nicer looking set. And I will be definitely using the Weeylite as my main light for that as well. I think with the directionality of the mic that I use here, which is an SM7B, I'm not going to have issues with the fan, because my rejection will be, I'll be trying to get my rejection aiming towards the fan to get less noise from the fan, basically. Highly recommend it. Definitely do check them out as well, though. So thanks for taking time to watch this, folks. You know the story, right? If you want to like and subscribe, please do. If you want to share it, please share it. And if you do want to get notified of new videos, do hit the bell, because it's been a while, and yeah, you know, you probably didn't even know I did this. But there we go. Thanks for watching. Bye.